Hey everyone, it's Ethan Ormis back again for another video today, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We're here again for yet another video. We've got a very, very exciting one. Going to be giving you guys my predictions for WrestleMania 39, and this is the first WrestleMania I've watched since like WrestleMania 35 or 34, I think. So it's been a really long time since I've watched WrestleMania. But with that being said, let's get into it. Of course, I believe we are starting off the night like this with John Cena versus Austin Theory. Now, I am very intrigued to see what happens with this match card, because I think the Usos versus Sami and KO should be the main event of tonight's WrestleMania. It should be. So fucking much it should be. So I really hope it is. I hope this isn't the order. That would be pretty kind of shitty if this is the final. If this is the main event. Don't get me wrong. I think this will be a really great tag team match, and I'm really excited for it. But ultimately, I literally think pretty much any other match on tonight's card deserves to be the main event rather than that one. So I'm so excited for this WrestleMania, bro. There are so many great matches and storylines coming up. This is super, super exciting. So, of course, John Cena versus Austin Theory. This is one I've been on the fence about all goddamn week. And, I mean, I guess the past few weeks, ever since Cena made his return. And to be honest, I still don't really know who is going to win this match. I'd like to think that Austin Theory is going to win this match. John Cena puts him over, and hopefully a, 15-minute match. I hope, absolutely, I feel like worst case scenario is Cena wins this match in a squash match in, under 3 minutes. That would really, really suck. Because I really think these two could put on a really good show. And ultimately, unfortunately, I feel like it's more leaning towards Cena. But I'm going to stick with my gut and my original selection, which is Austin Theory. I'm going to stick with Theory for winning this match, and we'll see how that pans out. Obviously, time will tell. But with that being said, let's move on to Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, which another really exciting match for most people. I would imagine. Unfortunately, not a great build into this feud, but that's totally okay, because as long as Rhea wins, that's all that matters. So yeah, ultimately, I'm hoping that Rhea wins, and she most definitely deserves to win this match, in my opinion. So with that being said, let's keep on going. Up next, we've got the Usos versus Sami and Kevin Owens, which, of course, a really, really fun match. I think the only way that this match should end is Sami Zayn pinning Jey Uso. I think that's how it should absolutely be, and I hope that is what they do. Again, I really, really hope that this is the main event for tonight, but we shall see. But yeah, ultimately, I am going to predict that Sami and KO will eventually, or I guess will beat the Usos tonight, and we'll have new undisputed tag team champions. And I was talking to my friends yesterday about it. I'm super, super intrigued to see how the main event goes tonight, or tomorrow night, I guess, because it's going to look so weird seeing Roman without titles again, if Roman loses, but we'll talk about that momentarily. So, yeah, Sami and KO, I'm going to give them the win. So with that being said, let's continue on to Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus versus Damage Control. Now, this one's a little interesting. I think that Becky, Lita, and Trish would win, I would imagine, right? Unless they're trying to put over Damage Control, but Damage Control has looked so weak throughout this feud. I feel like there isn't much going for them right now, and eventually they have to win something, right? But is that going to be tonight? Honestly, I really don't think so. I'm going to give it to Becky, Lita, and Trish. I just feel like that makes most sense. And then up next, we've got Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul. This is probably my most anticipated match of the weekend, to be honest. I feel like this match could be fucking amazing. I'm hoping this is at least like a 20-minute match, because this could be so fucking entertaining. I'm super, super excited for this one, more so than any other match on the card, to be honest. But yeah, with that being said, I do think Seth comes away with the win. Obviously, Logan's had it over Seth basically this entire build-up to WrestleMania, and I do think that Seth will get the win. I mean, Seth is literally like perhaps the most over face in the company right now. He's really on par with Sammy and Cody. I really think those three are your top three faces right now. So, yeah, ultimately, I'm going to give the win to Rollins. But with that being said, moving on to such a fucking fantastic story between Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. I really don't know. This one I'm super, super torn on as well. I really don't know who's going to win this match. Still, to be honest, I don't really know who I'm going to predict because on one hand, no shot. They induct Rey into the Hall of Fame. He loses on that or on the same weekend, right? But at the same time, is this going to be Rey's last match? Is he going to put over his son in his retirement, in a retirement match? Maybe. But ultimately, I don't think that this is going to be Rey's final match. I really don't feel like it is going to be. To be fair, he might have mentioned that in the Hall of Fame speech last night. I didn't get to finish watching that, so that's on me if he did say that. Or if he said something like that, I guess. But I think I am going to give the win to Rey. And then ultimately, I think Dom will probably win this feud. But I mean, we'll see what happens. Man, it's really weird to think that. But I don't know. I really think I wouldn't be surprised if Rey wants to put Dom over here at Mania, but then Rey ultimately wins the feud because I think whoever loses tonight will eventually win the feud. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Rey. I feel like Rey's gonna beat Dom here. If Dom wins, I don't think it'll be clean, and I think he'll get booed out of the building, which will be fucking epic, dude. I'm so invested in this story. I love this story so much. It's so great. But with that being said, let's keep on going to the last match of tonight. Don't know if it's the main event, but we shall see. Anyways, Braun Strowman and Ricochet, versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders. And honestly, I feel like there's three options here. I feel like the Viking Raiders is the least likely to win this matchup tonight, but it's possible, obviously. Braun Strowman and Ricochet, I could see that happening just because WWE loves Braun, understandably. But I feel like the most likely are either the Street Profits or Alpha Academy. If I had to guess, if it's the Street Profits, Montez Ford gets a pin. But I really kind of hope it's Alpha Academy because I'm starting to become such a big Chad Gable fan, and I want to see a Chad Gable win here tonight. But we'll see what happens. Ultimately, though, I think it'll be the Street Profits that wins tonight. And if not, I feel like it would be Braun Strowman and Ricochet next, and then third Alpha Academy, fourth Viking Raiders. That's how I would imagine it would go if they were, or how each team would win. In my opinion, first most obvious, or I guess most likely, is Street Profits. Then second most likely, Braun and Ricochet. Third Alpha Academy. Fourth Viking Raiders. So with that being said, let's move on to Sunday's matches, of course, tomorrow's matches, which I'm very, very excited for as well. Of course, the main event, perhaps the biggest main event in WrestleMania for the past couple of years at least. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. I'm so glad that we're here. This is awesome. Oh man. Ultimately, I do think that it will be Cody Rhodes winning this, which is super interesting. I don't think they'd want Roman to lose it anywhere else unless it was SummerSlam. It's possible that Reigns could absolutely carry this until SummerSlam, but ultimately I do think it'll be the end of Roman's title reign or tomorrow night, I guess I should say. I was going to say tonight, but yeah, I think it'll be ultimately Cody winning, and if not on Monday, maybe the following week, we'll probably see a new title as well, which I'm very excited for. But with that being said, Bianca Belair versus Asuka. This is a match. This is probably the match I care the least about, to be honest. I feel like there's been no build for either of the women's matches, unfortunately. I literally feel like there's more of a build between this WrestleMania Showcase match of all the women tag teams rather than the Bianca Belair and Asuka storyline. So I think I'm going to give the win to Belair, and I think Asuka will eventually win the title. They seem to be building some sort of streak with Bianca. I mean, she's 2-0 at WrestleMania, and I feel like it'll continue at least this year for now. Obviously, I think she'll have some sort of streak by the sounds of it, but we'll see. Ultimately, though, yeah, I'm going to give it to Bianca Belair, because again, I feel like there's not much of a build at this feud right now, so I think that they'll eventually build the feud more, and then Asuka will win. But with that being said, moving on to Gunther versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, another match that I'm really, really excited for. Yeah, I think Gunther will finally take the L. I don't think it'll be Gunther that gets the pin. And I do think Drew McIntyre will win this match. Ultimately, I wish Sheamus would pin Drew, so then Sheamus gets that WrestleMania moment of him finally winning the Intercontinental Championship. That's what I want most. I really, really want to see that. I don't know how lucky we are. Maybe it's possible. I don't know how many people want to see that, if it's more me that want to see that or not. But yeah, ultimately, I do think Drew will pin Sheamus for the win. But either way, this most definitely could be match of the year. So that's really, really exciting. But moving on to Edge versus Finn Balor inside Hell in a Cell. Brood versus the Demon. I'm so excited for this one as well. Of course, a great storyline between the Judgment Day and Edge. I'm very, very excited for this one as well to see what happens here. But yeah, ultimately, I think this will be a really great match. And I feel like Edge will put over Balor here, and then this will be the end of the feud. So hopefully we'll see Balor win. We shall see. I do think Balor will win, though. This one, up next, Brock Lesnar versus Omos, as another one that I'm super, super unsure of. I'm questioning my decision here because I really don't know who is going to win this match. If I had to guess, I don't know. Omos hasn't really been put over at all at WrestleMania over the past couple of years. And I feel like he's bound to eventually, right? So maybe that's what's going to happen this year with Brock. Brock's going to take a pin to Omos, but maybe they just still want to showcase how big Brock is. But I feel like realistically, Omos does win this match. Shout out to all the Homo sapiens. So yeah, I think I'm going to give the win to Omos here, but we'll see what happens. And with that being said, we'll move on to the final match of the WrestleMania card, which is Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, Natalya and Shotzi, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. Now, I feel like there's really only two options here. I don't think Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez will win, especially since how good Raquel looked last night in the Fatal 4-Way match, so I definitely don't think they will win just because she looked really great in that match. Natalya and Shotzi, I think, are an absolutely zero chance of winning this. Ronda and Shayna, I do think it's possible because I do think that this team will probably eventually be the team to take the tag titles away from Becky and Lita. And Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. Ultimately, I do think it's only between Ronda and Shayna versus Sonya and Chelsea. I feel like Sonya and Chelsea should win this match just because I feel like people are most invested into them rather than anyone else right now. So yeah, I'm just going to give it to them. I'm going to say Chelsea Green gets the pin. But with that being said, guys, there we go. Those are my predictions for this evening and tomorrow. Again, I'm super, super excited to see what happens. There are a ton of potential match of the year candidates on this card, such as Charlotte and Rhea, the Usos versus Sami and KO, Seth versus Logan, Ray versus Dom, and of course Roman versus Cody, Gunther, Sheamus, and McIntyre. I really do think there's going to be a lot of really great matches for this weekend. And again, I'm very, very excited for it. So ultimately, guys, let me know your thoughts on my predictions. What are your predictions? I did want to upload this video earlier, but I worked all day, so I do apologize. But with that being said, guys, thank you again all so much for watching. Again, let me know your predictions, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.